Welcome back to WIFF Off Script. I'm Maria Cusumano, film enthusiast and member of the WIFF family, and I'm here today with Vincent Georgie, executive director of the Windsor International Film Festival. Let's talk about this amazing slate of films that we are bringing back to the Capitol Theater.
Yeah, Maria, I think we're all definitely pumped to be back at the Capitol March 3rd to 5th. It'll be the first time we have indoor screenings in 2 years. So that's a really, really nice return. And all the films we're bringing you are all Oscar nominated. They got 11 Oscar nominations combined. It's pretty fantastic. But what's been really clear already in the feedback we receive from people, in the pre-sales from people, is people are ready to come back. That's really clear. And in talking to a lot of our members of the community and film enthusiasts, I was asking them like, oh, like, what are you coming to watch? Or are you excited? What have you? And there's a really obvious, yeah, no, I understand. Like, I'm, I'm vaccinated. I'll wear a mask. I come. Like people are ready to be back in there. They clearly get how to do it and do it safely. And let's go back and dive in and enjoy some films.
Very excited. So let's dive into it. Let's talk about Parallel Mothers.
Yeah, this is, I mean, a terrific drama coming from Spain. Pedro Almodovar film starring Penelope Cruz. She received her fourth Oscar nomination for this one. This one's a really, really solid drama of two mothers that meet, accidentally really in the hospital, and very, very different women, different lives. And there's some different intersections that go on in a surprising way, and their lives start to connect further on through the years after that they gave birth. And in typical Pedro Almodovar fashion, there's a lot of complications, a lot of drama for sure, a lot of tears, a lot of excitement too. It's a film that's actually got a lot of energy. The colors are beautiful. It's a really attractive film. I love the film. I think it's a really great one. I think it's one of Penelope Cruz's best performances. At WIFF, we've shown, ever since WIFF existed back in 2005, we've shown every Pedro Almodovar film that has he's released since. So we showed, The Skin I Live In and Broken Embraces, and I'm so excited. So many of them. And I mean, I think Parallel Mothers, similar with the whole slate that we've got, for this weekend of film, we've got Parallel Mothers, we've got the Japanese film Drive My Car, we've got the Norwegian film Worst Person in the World, and the Danish film Flee. It's just a really high quality type of film that, once you see it, you're like, yeah, this is the good stuff. So what did you think of Parallel Mothers, Maria?
I love Parallel Mothers. I think Penelope Cruz's performance is so, so good. She is just this conflicted rock in the middle of this storm of all of these things happening. And she's the only one who really has the full picture. And I think that that's such an interesting performance, watching her be torn in each direction. It is a very high quality film. I love the Mediterranean sun in this film. It just made me want to get outside. It's a beautiful film. It's very high quality, but it's also something that's very specific to Spain. It could only be made in this country, and you're going to learn a little bit about personal history in a larger context. I think it's a terrific film. Terrific film.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's also, for me, the epitome of a film that's not a pandemic film. Like, you watch this
Absolutely.
film, you're like, okay, this is a back to high quality international cinema type film. It's a terrific film, no doubt. I think our audience is going to love this. I think this
Oh,
will be a bit of a slam dunk. I think people will really enjoy it. It's a good one.
absolutely. Absolutely. The next film that we're going to discuss is the Japanese film Drive My Car.
Yeah, this film, has really taken on the festival world and the art house world really, really by storm. It's a film directed by Ryusuke Hamaguchi. It is based on a Murakami novel, and there's a lot of Murakami fans out there who, Murakami writes really, really complicated, interesting films, interesting books, I should say. And this is a really, really popular, film for. I think for fans of Murakami for sure. I think the ideal audience for Drive My Car, I think people that will love it, is if you want a film that's contemplative, that's a bit of a slow burn, and that really pays off if you're patient with it. It's a 3-hour film, and I always sort of say this. I don't know that runtimes the film is particularly interesting, but this is a film that you can't. I'm glad we're doing it in theaters, because Drive My Car is the epitome of a film that you don't watch at home.
Oh,
It's not a
absolutely.
film that's meant to be paused and go do laundry and come back in 3 days. Like, it's none of that. You got to sit down and be patient with it. But if you're patient with it, it really, really pays off. It's a really deep story about a man who is suddenly widowed, and he is a theater director, and evolving in his life, coping with the death of his wife as he attempts to stage a new version of Chekhov's Uncle Vanya. And there's just a lot of layers to it. And as the film keeps going and going, it really pays off. The characters are just, the performances are great. It's a very elegant film. I think it's a really impressive one. And this is the one that's taken the art world really by storm. This one got 4 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, and of course, Best International Feature, which I think really likely that it's going to win. What do you think, Maria? What are your thoughts on it?
To me, it's just absolutely a masterpiece. It's a tour de force. It's a massive film, and it's very funny because it came from a Murakami short story. So for the fact,
I didn't know that. Okay.
For the fact of it to expand out into this operatic film, it's beautiful. And you're absolutely right. It's not a film that you just watch while you're doing the laundry. It's something you need to have wash over you. You have to immerse yourself in it. And it's a tremendous film. I thought it was very, very well put together. And I love the way that they use the play to almost reflect different aspects of the character back. I was describing it to a friend as Chekhov's Chekhov. You know that certain things are going to happen in reflection to the play. It's a terrific film. The performances are outstanding.
Yeah.
And it's understated but still grand. That's something that I love about the film. It's a big
It's very
film.
Japanese.
Absolutely.
Very Japanese.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Really high quality, understated, but it's actually quite operatic in what it is in the end, even though it's never over the top. It's a really, really strong film. And even just strategically, we scheduled the film always in the afternoon, including the weekend, because it's a film that you're not starting at 8 o'clock at night.
No.
It's an afternoon film. You sit in and you take it in, but it's really well deserved, and it's I think it's also the epitome of the type of film that film festivals are made to show.
Absolutely, it's a 3-course meal that you need to digest. You need to digest. You need to sit with it and just enjoy it.
Yeah. No, it's a great film. Yeah, Drive My Car is a good one. Maria, what are your thoughts on our third film, the Norwegian film, The Worst Person in the World?
Oh goodness, I love The Worst Person in the World. I think it's very relatable to me specifically as somebody who is on the cusp of 30, but also I think just to anybody who is trying to sort of take control of their life, which is a very common thread now that we're going to be coming out of this pandemic. And everybody's sort of seeing like, well, this isn't where I thought I would be. And it's essentially a story of a young woman, and it's told in 12 different vignettes about her relationships and how she rushes into them, how she changes them, how she makes impulsive choices. And it's all sort of about how she makes and unmakes these relationships. And it's a fairly simple film. The performances are terrific. Mm-hmm. It's more funny, I suppose, than some of these other films. It's a little bit more lighthearted while still being heavy. It's heavy, but it's lighthearted at the same time.
It's a film that moves for sure, and there's some real energy to it and a bit of edge. The lead performance by Renate Reinsve, who won the Best Actress prize at Cannes. I hadn't seen her before. I didn't know her at all. Had you seen her before?
I had never seen her before. No.
It's really quite a performance. I think what's so great with the film is that it's got some real energy to it and some sass. It reminds me of a really good Woody Allen film back when his films were still good.
It has, it's very kinetic. I was saying it reminded me of Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach's Frances Ha. Not just because women run in both of those films. But I think it does have that sort of realism, shoegazy type situation in it. But you're right. It is a lot of dialogue. And it's very sassy, it's very snappy, it's kinetic, it's moving,
Yeah, it's a really good one. I think this one, honestly, out of all the films we're showing March 3rd to 5th, this one I think is the ideal date night, or we're going for dinner before, or going for drinks after. Like it lends itself to a bit of a night out. I think because there's a lot there, and there's some real energy to this film. It's a memorable, and I also think the title is pretty fantastic.
I think it's phenomenal because I think it's such an ode to that kind of self-loathing because she's clearly
Yeah,
not the worst person in
yeah,
the world, but in her imagination, she's like, oh, okay,
yeah,
I'm that person.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
bring a date, bring your friends, go for drinks
yeah,
afterwards,
yeah.
and you know what? Marinate it, discuss it, have a fun time.
It's a great one. I mean, we've shown a whole endless amount of Nordic films at the festival over the years, and we've shown this filmmaker Joachim Trier. We've shown a lot of his films actually at festival as well. It's a terrific one. I'm really happy we're showing this film. I think it's. I think people will really like this, to be honest.
hmm
Yeah,
Let's discuss our final film, Fleet.
yeah. This one I think is the hidden gem, and I think this is the one that everybody who comes out. I'm imagining people walking out of the Kelly Theater as soon as it's done and wanting to safely grab you by the arms and say, oh my god, I just had this amazing experience in the movie theater, and it's because of Fleet. I really, really do. I think the audience, this is the film that's going to have people that are going to be shouting it from the rooftops. It's really, really amazing. It's based on a true story. It is about a family from Afghanistan that immigrate to Russia. Russia wasn't their first choice, but that's where they were sent. They go to Russia and they get there, and pretty quickly it's obvious that Russia is not where they want to stay, and they want to try to disperse and try to get elsewhere, go somewhere else in Europe. They've got some family in Denmark, and they're trying to flee to there, but that doesn't go exactly as planned. It's a tremendous true story, full stop. And the reason they chose animation for the film is because for the majority of the film they don't have the footage to show the story, so all you'd really probably have is talking heads like Maria and I right now, or you'd have some archival shots that just they think do a good job with it. So making it animated, it's quite interesting because you've got the main guy is the guy. It's his family story. He's speaking through the whole thing, and the animation actually really works. And trust me, it doesn't take away at all from the emotion or the seriousness. Oh my goodness, not at
If
all actually.
anything, it adds to it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really well put together, like you said. There are some moments where it cuts to real footage, and it's very affecting. It's very, very well used. The closest I would say to this, it's something very, very unique. I would say similar to Loving Vincent in sort of the scale of like how the animation is used. Of course, it's not all oil paintings as
Right.
that film was, but the way that the animation is used to move the story along is similar. And it's a sort of a similar narrative to perhaps Marjan Satrapi's Persepolis.
Yeah.
I think it's a very, very good documentary because most docs tend to focus on someone of note, but this is just a personal story of somebody
Yeah.
who could be anyone.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think
Good point.
when we sort of look down at the micro, it becomes macro because you're like, oh, this could be any Afghanistani, uh, refugee. And I think that that's what makes the film so affecting is that it's just someone's personal story. They could be your neighbor, they could be your friend.
Totally, totally. It set a record with Oscar nominations. It got nominated for best documentary, got nominated for best international feature for the being the film coming from Denmark, and also got nominated for best animated feature.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
it's a really tremendous one. I really hope our audience takes a chance on this one. This is the one that if you're not sure, Maria and I are pushing you over the edge. Don't debate it. Just buy a ticket for free. Like just go to
Go
it.
do it.
Just
Go
just
do
go
it.
do it. That one for sure. It's a really really special movie. I can't sing its praises enough. But yeah, I mean, I'm just imagining if you've got. There's actually quite. I was going through some of the data, ticket sales, and that, and some of our fans that messaged us like who are buying. They're like, "Oh, I'm coming to everything." And I'm imagining. I mean, you and I've seen all four of them already, but I'm thinking like, oh gosh. I mean, the fact that these are all playing in one weekend, that's a good. The Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's a good
Oh, it's a
stretch of
great
movies.
slate of
Yeah, yeah,
films.
yeah. And I mean, they lend themselves to like after like drive my car, you want to go for lunch or drinks and talk it through because there's so much going on that you're like you need to like what was this and what we're doing over here. And whereas I think like say Parallel Mothers or Worst Person in the World lends itself to like dinner or drinks before the film or
hmm
could be after. Drive My Car you want it after. Flee you're gonna want to talk about it with someone.
hmm
Um, it lends itself to some different sort of social context and experiential context. I think they're
Oh,
all films that you're going to want at some point to call someone up or chat with someone in the hallway of the Capitol or grab a coffee with someone. But they all have
I mean, that's what I did with you after I finished them. I was like,
Yeah,
Vincent, I need to tell you about them.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And they're really, really great. And it's been, yeah, I can't wait for us to have that weekend, together with our audience and just be with everybody and again just show some really high quality films. I think it's gonna be a good weekend.
Absolutely. The ability to bring everybody back together and just the end of the film is the beginning of the conversation. And
No
these
question.
four films epitomize that.
Epitomize it. Yeah, yeah. Shout out Mark Biscariel. Absolutely. The end of the film was the beginning of the conversation with these four films. That's it couldn't be truer. And again, really proud to bring our community here films that received 11 Oscar nominations. We had these films locked up a couple of months prior to the nominations being announced, and timed it out to get these out for you and have them here in Windsor. So happy to have that, and happy to see everybody March 3rd to 5th.
Absolutely. Can we just tell people who maybe haven't purchased their tickets yet how they can purchase their tickets?
For sure. Yeah, you can go just to windsorfilmfestival.com and purchase tickets for any of the films that you're interested in. There's multiple screenings of each. And it's really simple as that. Otherwise, we'll see you at the Capitol Theater downtown Windsor.
See you then.
All right. Bye, Maria.
Bye, Vincent.